Hi, I'm Yugi Momo, and today I would like to talk a little bit about damage. Um, Specifically how to deal more of it. And this is kind of a broad subject because, there's four combat styles, there's a lot of different things to talk about. Um, Today I would like to specifically hone in on kind of how to optimize death swiftness a little bit. The reason being because I do a lot of group PVM with my clan. I have some friends I do um, group PVM with, and I see like questions in Discord and on Reddit about people asking, how can I deal more damage? And everything I say about death swiftness, this is gonna apply to Sunshine as well because they behave similarly. Um, and you might think like, oh well, what is there to talk about death swiftness? Well, let's kind of break down first what the ability does. So, it's an ultimate ability, so it requires 100% adrenaline. I'm at RS3. I've channeled a crystal, so I have 100% adrenaline. I can use this. Creates a 7x7 area at your location. So if I put this down, you can see kind of the area. And that 7x7 area is something we'll come back to, because that's actually very important. Um, And then probably the most important line here is the second line. Ranged attacks deal 1.5 times damage while inside the area. So that's kind of the crux of this ability. And it's somewhat intuitive that why you should use this. Because 50% damage increase, that's a lot. And that applies to everything except for, I believe, damage over time effects, which isn't actually stated on the ability. Um, which is kind of unfortunate, but I think they should probably update that. But that applies to frag shot, corruption shot, and dead shot. These are all kind of bleeds, dots, damage over times. So you kind of want to minimize how often you use these when you're in your death swiftness. And then the other sort of minor component to this is that every 3 ticks, every 1.8 seconds, the death swiftness itself is a damage over time effect. And so, oh, and you can see that I have the greater version. The base duration of this is normally 30 seconds. With the upgrade, it's an extra 7.8 seconds longer, which is actually kind of a big deal. It really doesn't seem like a big deal, but you can shave a lot of time off encounters. Think about like a longer fight. Like Low Man Yakamaru or a Masket. Every 2 uses that you use greater death swiftness is like having half a extra use over someone who's using the regular version. It really adds up. If you have money for the greater version, get the greater version. If you're planning on playing ranged, it really makes a big difference. But the first thing I want to focus on, the reason I'm kind of making this video, is something I see is that people will... I'm gonna channel this again. People will place the death swiftness, and there's sort of 2 main mistakes I see. So I'll go over to the dummies. And if I just start to use a rotation, people will just kind of... They feel like they have to stand in the center, but that's not true. As the ability says, it's a 7x7, so it doesn't matter where in this I am. But something people also really don't realize is that even if it doesn't look like you're in it, yeah, so if I stand right here, it doesn't look like I'm in it, but you can see I still have the buff. So I'm gonna go reset this cooldown at the altar. It's a 1-minute cooldown. I've got the adrenaline. So as you can see, you visually don't actually, you have a lot of room to work with. The thing is, not every boss is, these are like training dummies, they don't hit me, I can just whack it. But you can see, if I step a little further, the buff goes away. So if you have this death swiftness buff, if you see this, you are being affected by it. Um, and if you imagine kind of a square, yeah, all the way out here, I'm still affected by it. I can tell, because if I hit, let's see, 3,000, 1,600, so if I move out, yeah, my ability went from doing 1,600 per hit to like 1,000. So that's the first major thing. You do not have to point yourself in the center of it. The second thing is, a lot of people, as you saw, I kind of placed it a little far away from the training dummy. You really want to try to get that dot damage when possible. That is, of course, both of those things are easier said than done, but when possible, you want to place your death swiftness to where it will hit the boss, and you really want to try to stay inside it as much as possible. I'll see people do mechanics, and they'll just kind of run around all over the place where they don't have to. They'll run out in and out of it. They'll panic. They might get caught by mechanics or something. And as you can see here, I have a Twin Furies Reaper. That's not an accident, because I think Twin Furies is really a good boss to demonstrate what I'm talking about. Normal mode. It's a very simple boss. It really only has like 2 or 3 mechanics. It kind of doesn't matter if you have to do them well, but you can, by optimizing this death swiftness, like, you can really shave a lot of time off. Let's even see, what's my kill time? If we go to beasts. Yeah, so I have a 45.6 seconds, which I believe puts me an elite speed killer. And actually, we can check if we just go over here. Kind of wish they'd streamline this menu a little bit, but we're gonna click, we're gonna look for Twin Furies, show completed. Yeah, so we got the beginner, and we got the competent, which looks like a hard task, 48 seconds. I got a lot of the mechanics ones as well, but the speed killer is the important thing, because that's very intimately related to how well you can deal damage. And so if I try to just stand still in my death swiftness and Twin Furies, oop, that's next, watch what happens. So I'm gonna go in, make an instance. I'm gonna place it. Yeah, so if I just stand here, boom, I get hit. I'm stunned. I have to run all the way back to the death swiftness. So I'll teleport out now. So you don't want that to happen. So the question here is, how can I stand on my death swiftness as much as possible? And this is where we get into really how to optimize. And the answer to that question, at least for me, is to just study the mechanic. So I noticed that pull that the twin, first off, didn't dash right away. I got like 1 or 2 GCDs off before they started dashing. So I know they don't do it right away. I noticed that it started from the north wall. So I'm just going to go in, I'm not even going to attack, and I'm just going to observe, like, what is the attack pattern here? That's kind of the first question you have to ask. So I'm going to go back in. The bosses are going to spawn. There's going to be a bit of a delay. So starts north, then west to east, then south to north, and then looks like east to west. And I got caught there, but that's okay. So that's the attack pattern. And the second question I have to ask is, well, do they do that every time, or can it be random? So that time we saw a very clear pattern, but, you know, what if the boss mixes it up a little bit? What if there's variation? So if I go in a second time, and I'm doing this just to heal a little bit, but if I go in a second time, and I'll just observe, okay, north to south, west to east, south to north, east to west. Is this going to happen again? And if so, then we can use that information, we can plan around it, and we can try to ask ourselves, okay, how can I move around in my depth swiftness so that I'm maximizing how long I'm standing in it? So we're going to wait. So north to south again, that's the third time we've seen north. West to south. South to north. East to west. Okay, so that was the exact same, and that is in fact how the mechanic works. And they will do that every single time. So, Death Swiftness, big cooldown, 7x7 tiles. The first question I'm going to ask myself is, okay, so if it starts from north to south, maybe I can shimmy over and move, you know, a little bit west. So it's going to go north to south, and then west to east. So, okay, maybe I want to be on the back end, let it pass through while I'm still in it. And then I can just rinse and repeat. Just like this. And so now if we actually go in, and I'm not going to actually talk when I do my rotation. Oh, I should go over my gear just a little bit too. I'm unranged. I have a augmented bow of the last guardian, precise 4, eruptive 2, which is nice damage, doesn't really change how I play. Corroming 4, and Corroming 4 is a big deal. I also have greater ricochet, which has a pretty big impact on my rotation. I really wish that I could just toggle this to lesser to maybe show off the difference, but I can worry about that for a different video. So yeah, we're just going to go back in, and I'm going to try to do my rotation and just not get hit. And I'm going to use an overload. I'm going to use a replenishment potion. And hopefully I'm not going to have to eat. I should maybe make a video about food too. I could do that. Rocktails aren't ideal. I like to eat one before a fight because it raises your max health a little bit. It puts you over. Oh, I just went into next. And I should also change my gloves, actually. Twin Furies in particular, actually. This isn't really that relevant, but since we're doing Twin Furies, the wiki says that they're poisonable, and a lot of people see that and go, oh, I should bring Cinderbanes, I should bring weapon poison. When you're reading the wiki, make sure to actually fully read it, because directly under where it says they're poisonable on the wiki, it says that it doesn't actually affect them. It doesn't contribute towards their shared HP pool. So a lot of people bring poison here when they don't have to, but I'm going to go back in, do a rotation, and you're just going to see me dodge, really. You're going to see me dodge, do the mechanics. So I'm going to overload. I'm going to turn my book in. I'm not going to... Actually, I can aura for this. I'll use dark magic. I'm definitely not going to use the familiar though, because it's just a demonstration. But there's a lot of good damaging familiars that kind of just passively increase your DPS in different ways. So I'm going to start, I'm going to go in, I'm going to drop my Death Swiftness, and I'm going to just focus on dodging them. And I'm not going to worry really about getting the Death Swiftness under the boss for this, at least for this demonstration. But in a couple kills, I will show that. So I'm going to hit Death Swiftness, Pray, Greco. And if you mess up your if you're on full manual, you mess up your rotation, that's okay, just walk it off. Oh, I forgot to turn my prayer on. That's okay. So... okay. So I rotted. What happened there, and you know, you're gonna mess up. You're just... it's PVM, mistakes happen, you're gonna mess up. When she's up there like that, you can't deal damage. So what was happening was, I wasn't dealing damage, I forgot to pray. My soul split wasn't healing me. Mistakes happen, walk it off. I'm not gonna edit this out because I actually think it's really important to see that, you know, like I'm not like a professional or anything. I don't have any grandmaster times, but I'd consider myself a little experienced. I've got some elites and hard stun. Everybody makes mistakes. It's going to happen. So, gonna heal up. Gonna go back. I'm gonna charge up my adrenaline to 100. That's also really important. Being able to start the fight with 100 adrenaline is huge. And I believe if you do Succession, you can tool about the Infernal Puzzle box, which you can see I'm not in combat here, but my adrenaline's not draining. That's really nice, because otherwise you have to stall it, which gets really obnoxious. So I'm just going to go in, I'm going to remember to attack the proper one, I'm going to put down my Death Swiftness, walk off any other mistakes I make, and you'll see the kill. Yep, and I got hit that last time. I didn't move quite far enough, but that's okay. So after this, and you can see I'm still in it, gonna change targets this time. Yeah, and you can see I'm having a much easier time sustaining damage here. I can just ignore that. And finish off the kill. Not an amazing kill, I got hit, but still sub-minute. And actually, that's a pretty good benchmark. So watch what happens if I don't use Death Swiftness, and you're gonna see how much longer this takes. This is why this is so important. Also, I forgot to grab the seals, but that's also not really that important. So I'm gonna heal up, grab my adrenaline, go back in. Also, I forgot to turn my Scripture of One on, which if that had procced probably once or twice, maybe 3 times if I'm lucky, that would have sped up the kill probably 5-10 seconds, because that's a pretty big chunk of damage. So I'm healed, gonna eat, gonna grab the adrenaline crystal. And so watch how long this takes if I don't use Death Swiftness. Overload wore off. I'm a bit sloppy with my rotation here. I accidentally double spec'd, which I didn't want to do. It's not the end of the world, because the Bow of the Last Guardian spec is kind of beefy, but... Yeah, and you can see... Actually, that wasn't too much slower. But it was still about 10 seconds slower. Although I did get hit the first time. So let's go back in one more time with the book on. That time I also had my book active. And again, mistakes happen. Just you know, mistakes happen. Just walk it off. You'll be okay. Although that's why practice is important too, because you practice, you just minimize how many mistakes you make. Especially for something like Twin Furies, like even if you screw up, you'll probably get the kill. But I'm gonna go in and try to do everything a little more properly this time. Book is on. I'm gonna try not to double spec on accident, and I'm gonna try not to get hit this time. So we're gonna go in one more time. Rotation's still not really amazing, and you can see here I'm not really standing in my death swiftness. That's okay. Gonna enhance Excalibur to help with the extra damage. Yeah, and that time, that was a lot better. That was 52 seconds. Compared to like a minute 5, minute 10. Again, that really doesn't seem a lot, but think about how many kills I have. We're gonna go to Twin Furies. Yeah, 138 kills. Imagine each of those kills being 10, 15 seconds faster. It's like 1,000 seconds. That's a lot of time. Like, doing more damage, it makes long grinds. Like, say I wanted to collection log them, it would make that a lot easier, a lot faster, less resources. More loot. Forgot to bring my spring cleaner. Twin Furies drops a lot of salvage, I believe. So, just gonna go in one more time to kind of show it off. And this time, something you might have noticed is that I didn't drop my death swiftness under them. So now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna try and go, okay, can I drop my death swiftness under them, get the full dot damage, and still avoid all of the attacks? It might be a little more difficult if the boss decides to kind of push me around a little bit. Because I think the God Warriors dungeons the bosses are a little big. Sometimes they'll move you if you try to walk into them. But yeah, I'm just gonna go in one more time, see if I can get the death swiftness. And it looks like that might be a little too tight. That's okay. Yeah, so not every boss is gonna let you. If you've ever done Arc Liquor before, you kind of know how that goes. So yeah, wasn't able to quite pull off getting the damage over time effect, but I think that's still a good demonstration. You got to watch me kind of dodge around. I didn't get caught out by the drag, and I was still able to get the death swiftness. It's really a big deal. I might make another video in the future in ED2, which I believe is Dragonkin Laboratory. In fact, I'm gonna wave here so I don't get attacked again, but let's look for... Oh, what was the boss called? Blackstone. Yeah, and, I like to do solos a fair bit of these. That dragon, or that dungeon is also a kind of a good spot to try to test, like, okay, a lot of the mechs really want you to move around a lot. How can I set my death swiftness as much as possible? But yeah, that's all I wanted to show off today. Thank you for watching.